here, Slocum 23. You're joining me for My First Two Loves, Chapter 60, Slippery Slopes. Early the next morning, Mackenzie and I paced around my room trying to devise a plan. What about the original prints? They're sitting all crumpled in the trash right now, and they had some defects, which is why I wanted to reprint them in the first place. Defect is better than no effect. Any chance we can fish them out of the garbage? You think anyone's gonna buy crumpled up prints that literally came up from the trash? No, when you say it like that, no. She flopped face first on the bed before propping herself up to look at me with a grin. We could always TP Lauren's house. Yeah, but that's not gonna help save the photography club. How is that supposed to help? It won't, but it'll make you feel better. Emma, I think it's time to call it. The auction's tonight. There's no time left. Not yet. What if I retake my picture at Murphy's Beach? I got the shot once, I can get it again. Murphy's Beach is hours away, and it's way after dawn. There's no way you'd get the same lighting. There's gotta be something we're not thinking of. My phone vibrated against the comforter, and I joined Mackenzie on the bed to read the notification. An email from Miss Larson. Maybe the festival's being postponed. My luck's not that good. Still, my heart pounded as I opened the email. Emma, I'm sorry to disturb you so early, but I have exciting news. I discussed your work with a few art lovers. They're excited to see with their own eyes it's in the show tonight. I have a feeling they'd be willing to make some pretty sizable investments if you catch my drift. Make me proud. Miss Lawson. Yikes. Mackenzie whistled as she read over my shoulder. You're right, your luck does suck. I can't let her down. Not when she's counting on me like this. I hopped to my feet and went back to pacing, my mind racing a mile a minute. Finally, it hit me. Sunrise isn't the only golden hour. I just need a west-facing location, like Simon Falls. If I hike to the top, I can get some great sunset shots. Good thing it's Saturday, and I have nothing better to do. I'll call shotgun. What I need more is someone to cover with Dad so he doesn't notice his car's missing. Fine, bench me, but we both know it's only because you're dying to call certain someone who would love to help. Grabbed a pillow, threw it at her, but she was already halfway to her room. Her laughter echoed down the hall. As annoying as she may be, she's not wrong. We got to know. I should totally hike by myself. As I packed Mom's old camera gear, I shot Noah a text. By the way, where's your camera? Did you replace it? Soon, I parked my dad's car at the foot of the mountains, eyeing the trail ahead as I steeled myself for the hike. The ground looked cold and icy under the cloudy skies, and snow covered every inch of the land as far as I could see. The things I'd do for a good picture. Next to me, Noah tightened the straps of his backpack. You complain, but I know some part of you is loving every minute of it. He drew close so his face hovered mere inches from mine, and I gazed into his eyes. Adrenaline coursing through your veins, boldly going where others wouldn't even try. Admitted you love for this stuff. Did you just quote Star Trek? Why is it that when I'm with you, alive takes on a whole new meaning? Noah just smirked, and for a moment we stayed like that. A million things left unsaid, but in the back of my mind I knew there wasn't time to waste. We'd better get started. The clock ticking, I pulled myself away from Noah's magnetic gaze, and together we began crunching our way up the trail. My breath came to a short puffs as I hiked, but it was a small price to pay for the view. And tell me about the pneumonia you get later. The way to the top of the cliff was through icy caverns and behind the waterfall. I took in the slick wall of ice, the light glinting across it like stars. Whoa. Never a dull date with me, huh? Why, just a regular hike when you could go on an extreme hike? That reminds me of the time Elijah and I went hiking when we were little. He let us off the trail because he knew a shortcut. We ended up being lost for 3 hours. Well, I promise there won't be shortcuts this time, even if we are in a hurry. I pulled out my mom's camera and snapped a few pictures, but from where I was standing, the angle wasn't quite right. I gotta get closer. I don't think that's such a... Before he could finish, I stepped off the path, my eye pressed to a viewfinder in search of the perfect shot. So you'll ride a motorcycle at 60 miles an hour, but a dark cave is too spooky for you? Listen, I played a lot of Phasmophobia, okay? Dark spaces haunt me! But suddenly, there was a loud crack beneath my foot. A crack splitting through the ice directly below me, lengthening and splitting like lightning bolt as we watched. You were saying... I tried to step back the way I came, but the ice groaned under my weight. Spread out my weight on the ice. If I shift my weight too quickly, the ice will give. I've gotta take it slow. I had my arms out to the sides and bent my knees, lowering the center of my gravity as best as I could before shuffling across the ice. The second I was within reach, Noah hauled me back to solid land. My knees collapsed beneath me, and I let my heart return to its normal pace. Still like communing with nature? Always. Give me a second for my stomach to fall out of my throat, and then I'll tell you. I took a moment to catch my breath before climbing to my feet, then hitting the trail again, this time watching my step as I snapped photos. About a half an hour of hiking later, the caves opened up and the waterfall I'd been looking for came into view. The roar of the water was deafening as it cascaded over the cliff, sending up a spray that froze on the bright breeze as a powdery snow. Thousands of gallons thundering into the sea, smashing into the sheets of ice below the stone cliff. It was a danger and beauty rolled all into one. Wow. Noah offered only a shrug before he turned to look me up and down with a suggestive smirk. It's a nice view, but I've seen prettier. I gave him a playful shove off the cliff, right? He took my hand and pulled me into him. My heart sped up as I pressed against his muscular chest. I'd be careful if I were you. You're dangerously close to blowing your tough guy cover. If the guys on the football team saw how you trekked up here just for me, they'd definitely call you whipped. And at the risk of being hopelessly whipped, I have a surprise for you. He pulled away, slid his bag off his shoulders, and pulled out a thermos and a sea of warm, fluffy blankets. Now this is a surprise I can get behind. Take a load off and warm up, Supergirl. The falls will still be here in 5 minutes. Noah took a seat on the blanket, cracked the thermos, and brought the rims to his lips for a slow sip before gesturing for me to sit down. I chose the spot next to him, and as I settled in, a cold wind blew, sending chills up my spine. He grabbed into the blanket and draped it over my shoulders. As he pulled it tight around me, my eyes met his, and his Adam's apple bobbed up as I swallowed hard. You know, it'd be way easier to stay warm if, you run into the blanket with me. It's like you read my mind. His mouth crashed into mine, and he pulled me on top of him as he sank back, letting the blanket fall over us both. I deepened the kiss, massaging his tongue with my own as his fingers gripped the back of my neck. His nails bit the skin there, and I couldn't help myself. At the sound of his name, he smiled smugly against my neck, and I worked my hands under his shirt to trace the outlines of his abs. He gasped at the feel of my cold fingers against his feverish skin. So much for warming up. It may not have been a perfect plan, but it's definitely fun. I owe you one, by the way. Getting up here would have been 10 times scarier alone. You don't owe me anything, Emma. You call, I come. It's that simple. Oh yeah, what if I... Noah touched a finger to my lips, and the words died on my tongue. The look in his eye said everything, but he gave me only 4 words. You call, I come. There's a pun in there somewhere. As Noah and I lounged here together, the world seemed huge and unknowable, but with him by my side, I felt wild and free. As much as I'm enjoying this, Noah, I do have a picture to take. Yeah, I haven't forgotten. You got this, Emma. A single ray of sun broke through the clouds, its light sparkling and dazzling as it bounced off of the icy waterfall, and it was that moment that I pulled it all together for me. Anyone can take a picture, but capturing a feeling was what made a photograph. The sun was practically falling out of the sky now, and I scrambled to set up the camera and diffuser before I lost my only good light source. I've only got one shot. Let's hope that's all I need. My hands trembled from the cold, but I dropped to one knee, angling the camera as the last burst of sunlight slipped behind a cloud. Here goes everything. You know what, we can just sit here and look at the hurry button. There's no timer. Just take this in for a moment. Nah, I will sit here and look at that for a second. It's pretty. Scroll through the reel of photos to see the shot, and each second felt like forever as I waited for it to buffer, until finally... How's that for winter wonderland? The sun gleamed off the torrent of water as it plunged down the falls, wild and wonderful and frozen in time. Just like that, I forgot about the cold, about Lauren destroying my work, about the uncertainty in my heart and my future. In that moment, I was exhilarated with the image I'd caught on film, and it made it all my struggles worth it. I did it! As I threw my head back and screamed into the open air, Noah knelt beside me for a look, a slow grin sweeping his face. That's one hell of a buzzer beater. I threw my arms around him, tucking my face into the crook of his neck, and he held me like he'd never let go. When I pulled away, my eyes found his, and I couldn't imagine doing this without him. Let's go back to East Ridge and get this developed. We've got some money to raise. And it's over just like that, without further ado. Thank you all for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And in the description below, links to social media, Discord, if you'd like to support me and my content. It would be greatly appreciated. And hey, consider heading over to Twitch. It's where I do a lot of my live streams and whatnot, and a lot of content that you guys will either never get to see, or will be very delayed to see. Sorry, that's how it works, especially when you upload so much to YouTube. You can only do so much before YouTube and its algorithm kind of like block you from being notified to, your viewers. So that's unfortunately how the cookie crumbles. Thanks for watching. Peace.